The air in the massive archive room felt still and cold. Archivalist Kizoth moved slowly between tall shelves filled with records from 1,000 conquered worlds. His six-fingered hands carefully sorted new findings from the small blue-green planet called OSC 31892. Kizoth sighed. This was his 57th year cataloging specimens for the mighty Vexari Dominion. The work had grown boring. Most newly discovered planets held the same simple treasures: strange plants, basic stone tools, or crude metal objects from species that had died out long ago. OC 31892 seemed no different. The planet's ruins showed signs of a civilization that had barely managed to reach its own moon before disappearing. Nothing special. Nothing worth the attention of the Vexari High Command. Another day, another dead world, Kizoth muttered to himself. The archive door slid open with a soft hiss. Junior researcher Tilara entered, her normally blue skin flushed purple with excitement. She clutched a small box in her trembling hands. "Archivalist Kizoth, you must see this immediately," her voice echoed in the quiet room. Kizoth clicked his mandibles in annoyance. "Lower your voice, junior researcher. What could possibly be so important?" Tilara placed the box on Kizoth's workstation. Inside lay a small rectangular device, covered in dust and showing signs of extreme age. Its surface was corroded, but clear enough to see it had been made with precision. "Where did you find this?" Kizoth asked, suddenly interested. "Northern continent, beneath the ruins of what appears to be a research facility. It was sealed in a special container made of materials we've never seen before." Kizoth picked up the device carefully. Despite its age, estimated at over 200,000 cycles old, it seemed remarkably preserved. "Have you tried to activate it?" Tilara nodded. "That's why I brought it directly to you." She pressed a small indentation on the side of the device. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the surface flickered with light, displaying strange symbols. The Vexari translation matrix hummed as it processed the unknown language. Words appeared on Kizoth's monitor. "Project Phoenix. Final transmission. We sleep beneath the ice. Remember us." Kizoth's four eyes widened. "This can't be right." He ran the translation again. Same result. "What does it mean?" Tilara asked. Kizoth's mind raced. If the translation was correct, this changed everything they thought they knew about the extinct species from OSC 31892. "It means they might not be extinct after all," he whispered. Kizoth activated his communication implant. "This is Archivalist Kizoth. I need to speak with High Commander DeVex immediately. Priority level 1. Priority 1. Tilara gasped. Such communications were reserved for threats to the Dominion itself. "Yes," Kizoth said grimly. "If I'm right, we've just discovered something impossible." He pointed to more data streaming across his screen. Complex mathematical formulas, star maps, and technical schematics far beyond what a primitive species should possess. These humans weren't primitive at all. They were hiding. The next day, ships from across the Vexari Dominion converged on OSC 31892. Scientists, military leaders, and government officials all wanted to see the impossible evidence for themselves. As Kizoth watched the activity from his window, he felt a strange shiver. For the first time in his long career, he had found something truly new, and possibly dangerous. The hunt for the sleeping humans had begun. First Imperator Valxis drummed his clawed fingers on the ancient stone table. The emergency meeting of the Galactic Council had been going on for 3 hours with no progress. "Enough," Valxis finally shouted, his voice echoing in the domed chamber. "We have heard enough theories. I want facts." 7 alien species fell silent, their representatives turning to face the leader of the Vexari Dominion. For 10,000 years, the Vexari had ruled most of the known galaxy. Their warships were the largest, their weapons the deadliest. When Valxis spoke, everyone listened. Ambassador Xor of the Thanari Collective stood up, his insect-like body clicking as he moved. First Imperator, with respect, these humans were nothing special. Our scans of OSC 31,892 show they barely reached their moon before dying out. Why waste our time on dead primitives? Science Minister Elodia of the Pesari Republic shook her head, her feathered crest rising in disagreement. Ambassador Xor misunderstands the significance. The message suggests suspended animation technology. If true, these humans had technology our ancestors wouldn't develop for another 1,000 years. Impossible, growled General Drax of the Korvax Military Alliance. No primitive species leaps forward like that. The translation must be wrong. Kizov stepped forward, carrying the small device that had started all this trouble. The translation is correct. We've confirmed it with 3 different systems. He placed the device in the center of the table. With a press of a button, the message appeared again. Project Phoenix. Final transmission. We sleep beneath the ice. Remember us. What bothers me, said Ambassador Lyrith of the Solarian Union, is the timing. These ruins are approximately 200,000 cycles old, before any of our civilizations achieved space travel. The room grew quiet as everyone considered this fact. Valxis leaned forward. You're suggesting these humans might have been spacefaring before any of us. It's worse than that, Kizov said quietly. We found more devices. They contain star charts, technical schematics, mathematical formulas, all far beyond what we thought these humans could achieve. He activated a holographic display showing complex diagrams and equations. This is not primitive technology, Kizov continued. This is knowledge deliberately hidden in simple-looking containers, disguised to appear less important than they are. General Drax slammed his fist on the table. This is a security threat. If these humans still exist somewhere, they could be planning to attack us. Or they could be hiding from something worse, suggested Elodia, her voice barely above a whisper. The council chamber grew so quiet that the soft hum of life support systems became noticeable. Valxis stood up slowly. At nearly 3 meters tall, he towered over the other representatives. We need answers, not speculation. If these humans still exist somewhere, I want to know where they are and what they're planning. He turned to Kizov. Prepare a full expedition to OSC 31,892. Take our best scientists and a military escort. Find these sleeping humans if they exist. Ambassador Lyrith raised a delicate hand. And if they do exist, what then? Valxis's 4 eyes narrowed. Then we decide if they are friends or enemies. As the council members filed out, Kizov stayed behind, staring at the small device. Something about this didn't make sense. Why would an advanced civilization pretend to be primitive? What were they hiding from? Or who? 3 days later, the research vessel Dauntless Inquiry departed the Vexari homeworld, carrying the largest scientific expedition in recent history. Their destination, the frozen wastes of OSC 31,892, now known by its original name, Earth. The hunt for humanity's secret had officially begun. The research vessel Dauntless Inquiry hung in orbit above the blue-green world. Through the main viewport, lead scientist Nevar studied the planet now known as Earth. Its oceans had risen over the millennia, swallowing once great cities along coastlines. Massive ice sheets covered much of the northern and southern regions. Quite beautiful for a graveyard, Nevar remarked to no one in particular. Behind him, expedition teams made final preparations. The Vexari High Command had spared no expense. 42 scientists from 7 species, plus a military escort of 20 elite soldiers. Their mission: find the sleeping humans. Expedition leader Laura Daniels checked her environmental suit one last time. As a Centauri, she handled cold better than most species, making her perfect for leading the Antarctic team. Her gray skin and large eyes gave her excellent vision in the darkness they would face below the ice. All teams report ready. Lead scientist, she announced. Dropships are prepared for descent. Nevar nodded. Remember your objectives. We're looking for an entrance, not just ruins. The device mentioned beneath the ice. Focus your searches accordingly. 5 dropships launched from the Dauntless Inquiry, each heading to different locations based on data extracted from the recovered devices. Laura's ship headed toward Antarctica, where the strongest energy readings had been detected. The journey through Earth's atmosphere was rough. Strong winds buffeted the dropship as it descended toward a vast white landscape. Laura watched the ground approach through thick swirling snow. Not exactly a warm welcome, muttered Jack Rodriguez, the team's engineer. Despite his natural habitat being the hot deserts of his homeworld, the stocky Phyrexian had volunteered immediately when he heard about the mission. Temperatures outside are -70 degrees, announced the pilot. Wind speed 40 knots. Visibility poor. Laura stood up. Get us down safely. We'll handle the rest. An hour later, the team of 8 researchers had established a base camp. Wind howled around their temporary shelters as they set up equipment. Ground-penetrating radar units were positioned in a wide circle, scanning deep beneath the ice. Anything? Laura asked, joining Jack at the main console. He shook his head. Just ice, rock, more ice. Wait, his 4-fingered hand stopped above the display. There's something at 2,000 meters depth. Definitely not natural. Laura studied the readings. How large? Massive. At least 500 meters across. Perfect geometric shape. No way that's natural formation. Laura activated her comm unit. Base camp to Dauntless Inquiry. We found something. Within hours, drilling equipment was deployed. The thermal drill cut through ice at remarkable speed, creating a shaft wide enough for the team to descend. Steam rose from the hole as melted ice was vaporized and expelled. Thermal drilling complete, Jack reported after 18 hours of continuous operation. We've reached the structure. Laura led the way down the shaft in a small elevator pod. Lights mounted on their suits illuminated the ice walls as they descended. 2 kilometers down, the pod stopped at a small platform hastily constructed at the bottom of the shaft. Before them stood a massive doorway embedded in ice. It was made of a dark metal that showed no signs of corrosion despite its age. In its center was a stylized image of a bird rising from flames. The Phoenix, whispered Laura, recognizing the symbol from the recovered devices. As she approached, hidden sensors detected their presence. Lights suddenly illuminated along the doorway's edge. With a low rumble that they felt more than heard, the massive doors began to part. Cold air rushed out from the opening, carrying a faint smell of electricity and something else, something organic. Get Never on the comm, Laura ordered, her voice hushed with awe. Tell him we found it. The team stepped through the doorway into a vast chamber. Their lights revealed row after row of sleek metal pods stretching into the distance. My God, whispered Laura, there are thousands of them. Inside each pod, visible through small frost-covered windows, were human faces. Dr. Peter Nichols pressed his face against the observation glass, fascinated by the human woman inside the medical chamber. After 3 days of careful work, the first of the sleeping humans was ready to be awakened. Vital signs stable, reported his assistant. Brain activity increasing. Peter nodded. As the foremost cryogenics specialist of the Passeri species, he had been rushed to Earth when the discovery was made. He had studied suspended animation theory all his life, but had never seen it used successfully on intelligent beings. Begin final revival sequence, he ordered. Inside the chamber, warm mist filled the space around the woman. The frost on her skin melted away as her body temperature slowly rose. Her chest began to move with shallow breaths. Then her eyes fluttered open. Peter felt a chill run down his spine. After 200,000 years, a human was awake again. The woman looked around, confused at first. Then her eyes focused on Peter. She stared at his blue skin and large eyes without fear or surprise. You're not human, she stated simply. No, replied Peter. I am Passeri. We discovered your facility several moon cycles ago. The woman sat up slowly, examining her own hands as if making sure they still worked. How long? She asked, her voice steady despite her impossible situation. Approximately 200,000 of your years. She closed her eyes briefly before responding. Then the contingency worked. Humanity survived. Peter was taken aback by her calm acceptance. You expected to sleep so long. That was the plan. She extended her hand. I'm Dr. Olivia Grant, Chief Medical Officer of Phoenix Base 6. Peter hesitated, then gently shook her hand, mimicking the human greeting he had learned about in the facility's records. Over the next few weeks, more humans were awakened. Each revival got easier as the team learned from experience. Dr. Grant supervised the process, making sure each awakened human received proper care. Among the first revival group was a man named Alan Bishop. Unlike the others, he wore a simple uniform with strange symbols on the shoulders. Commander Bishop was in charge of our military contingent, Olivia explained to Peter. Alan Bishop spent most of his time reviewing the current galactic political situation with the alien visitors. He showed particular interest in the Vexari Dominion and their military capabilities. Your people control most of known space, he asked lead scientist Nevar during one briefing. The Vexari have ruled for 10,000 years, Nevar confirmed. No one challenges them anymore. Alan nodded thoughtfully. And technology? Faster than light travel. Of course, we use quantum fold drives for most ships. The technology was developed about 7,000 years ago. Alan exchanged looks with Olivia. Something silent passed between them. One evening, Peter found Alan studying star charts in the facility's main control room. You adapt quickly to our technology, Peter observed. Alan smiled. It's not so different from what we had. Peter's antenna twitched in surprise. But your civilization was primitive. Your records show you barely reached your moon. Alan's smile faded. Is that what you think? He called up an image on the screen. One of Earth's ancient cities in ruins. We weren't primitive, Dr. Nichols. We simply hid our true capabilities. Why would you do that? Alan's eyes grew distant. Because sometimes the best way to survive is to be underestimated. He pulled up another screen showing 12 blinking dots spread across a map of Earth. There are 11 other facilities like this one, all waiting to be found. Alan turned to face Peter directly. We need to wake them all. Quickly. Why the urgency? Peter asked. Alan's face grew grim. Because we're running out of time. We went to sleep to prepare for something coming. Something terrible. And if my calculations are correct, it's almost here. Outside the facility, storm clouds gathered over the Antarctic landscape, as if nature itself sensed the change coming to the galaxy. Kzoth's claws clicked nervously against the console as he entered his security codes. The terminal hummed, granting him access to the most restricted section of the Vexari Historical Archives. As chief archivalist, he had clearance, but he had never needed to use it until now. Computer, search historical records for any mention of species designation. Human, he commanded. Searching, replied the computer's emotionless voice. Access restricted. Secondary authorization required. Kzoth frowned. Double security was unusual. He entered his emergency override code, a sequence he had memorized but never used. The screen flickered, then displayed Warning. Tilasafaidi historical oriciority. Accessing this information requires notification of High Command. Override notification protocol, Kzoth said quickly. Temporary research exemption. The screen went dark for a moment, then ancient text appeared. Records so old they predated the modern Vexari writing system. Kzoth leaned forward, reading with growing horror. The texts described a fearsome species that had briefly emerged on the galactic stage before mysteriously vanishing. A species calling themselves human. According to the fragments, These humans had demonstrated technology far beyond their expected development level, then suddenly disappeared approximately 200,000 years ago. This can't be right, K'Zoth whispered to himself. If this is true, then why was Earth classified as a primitive world? A note at the bottom of the file caught his eye. All evidence of human technological advancement erased from official records by order of Emperor Kaurix, year 7623 of the Dominion. K'Zoth sat back, stunned. The Vexari Dominion had deliberately hidden the truth about humans. But why? Meanwhile, aboard the dauntless Inquiry orbiting Earth, the awakened humans were accessing their own archives. In a room filled with alien scientists, software engineer Maria Bailey and communications specialist William Foster worked to restore ancient data systems. These systems weren't designed to sleep for 200,000 years, Maria explained as she bypassed corrupted memory blocks. We're lucky anything still works. William nodded, his fingers flying across the keyboard. Almost there. Got it. The main screen lit up, showing a directory of files. Look at this, Maria called, pointing to a section labeled Phoenix Protocol. These aren't just survival bunkers. They're seed ships. William studied the display. Seed ships? You mean like colony vessels? Sort of. According to this, each facility contains everything needed to rebuild human civilization. Technology, knowledge, genetic samples. She scrolled through more files. But they're designed to look primitive from the outside. Interstellar vessels disguised as survival bunkers. William frowned. But why the deception? An alien scientist named Jero moved closer, his four eyes wide with interest. Your people deliberately appeared less advanced than they were. Apparently, Maria said. But I don't understand why. William opened another file, this one heavily encrypted. Let me try something. He entered a sequence of commands, and the file unlocked. The main screen filled with images of space, but unlike any space they recognized. Dark webs stretched between stars, consuming everything they touched. What is that? Asked Jero, backing away slightly. I don't know, William said quietly. But I think this is why we hid. As they watched, the recording showed stars going dark one by one as the web-like structure spread. Maria accessed more files. According to this, our scientists detected something approaching from beyond the galactic rim. Something massive and hostile. They called it the Devourer. The file contained simulation data showing the Devourer's projected path across the galaxy. According to the timestamp, it would reach Earth's region of space in approximately 200,000 years. That's now, William whispered. It's happening now. Maria looked at him, face pale. We didn't go extinct. We didn't die out. Her voice dropped to a whisper. We were preparing. In another section of the archive, they found the complete Phoenix Protocol, a detailed plan for humanity to appear primitive, then retreat into hidden facilities across 12 galaxies, waiting, preparing for the day when the Devourer arrived. We need to get this information to the Council immediately, Jero said urgently. If this Devourer is real, every species in the galaxy is in danger. The alarm system suddenly activated, bathing the room in red light. What's happening? William asked. Maria checked the security feed. Long-range sensors are detecting something entering the solar system. Something big. Outside Earth's atmosphere, against the backdrop of stars, a darkness began to spread. The Galactic Council chamber had never been so quiet. Representatives from all major spacefaring civilizations sat in stunned silence as Admiral Alan Bishop finished speaking. The human stood tall at the center of the room, his simple gray uniform a stark contrast to the elaborate dress of the alien diplomats. Humanity didn't die out, he repeated, his voice calm yet powerful. We left. 200 millennia ago, our long-range sensors detected something approaching from beyond the galactic rim. Something massive, ancient, and hostile. We called it the Devourer. Alan activated a small device on his wrist. A holographic display appeared above the council table, showing a dark, web-like structure stretching across space. Stars within its path dimmed and vanished. Our scientists predicted it would reach our region of space in approximately 200,000 years. We weren't strong enough to fight it, but we could prepare. Alan's eyes swept the room. We established outposts in 12 galaxies, disguised our technology, and went into hibernation to await the threat. Imperator Valxis of the Vexari Dominion stood up, his massive frame towering over the other council members. Preposterous. No evidence of this devourer exists in any of our astronomical surveys. This is clearly a ploy by you humans to gain sympathy and resources. Laura Daniel stepped forward to join Alan. Unlike her commander, Laura seemed uncomfortable in the spotlight, but her voice was steady as she addressed the council. With respect, Imperator, the evidence is already here. It's all around us. She took control of the display, bringing up charts and data. What your scientists call dark matter isn't natural. It's artificial. The devourer converts normal matter to dark matter, consuming stars and planets in the process. The science minister Elodia leaned forward, her feathered crest rising in alarm. That's impossible. Dark matter is a fundamental part of the universe. Is it? Laura asked. Then why does it keep increasing? Why does the outer rim's dark matter concentration grow each year? It's not random. It's a feeding pattern. The room erupted in worried conversation. Valxis slammed his fist on the table for silence. Even if what you say is true, why hide? Why not warn the galaxy? Alan's expression hardened. We tried. Those first contacts went badly. He nodded to Kazoth, who stood nervously at the side of the room. Your own archives contain the truth, though it was hidden even from you. The early Vexari leaders feared our technology and our warnings. They chose to erase us from history rather than face an uncomfortable truth. Kazoth stepped forward. He's right. I found the records. Emperor Calrix ordered all evidence of advanced human technology destroyed. The official history was rewritten to show humans as primitives who died out naturally. Valxis sank back into his chair, stunned by this revelation. General Drax of the Korvax Military Alliance stood up. Unlike the others, he seemed more curious than shocked. If what you say is true, what can be done? How do we fight this devourer? Alan's face showed a hint of relief. Someone was finally asking the right question. We've been working on that for 200,000 years, he replied. Each human facility contains weapons technology, shield systems, and countermeasures designed specifically to combat the devourer. He pulled up new schematics showing massive orbital platforms and strange-looking ships. These aren't conventional weapons. They operate on principles your scientists haven't discovered yet, because you never needed to. Why should we trust you? Asked Ambassador Xor of the Thanari Collective. You deceived the galaxy once already. Laura stepped forward again. Because we're all in this together now. The devourer doesn't care what species you are. It consumes everything. She switched the display to a real-time feed from deep space telescopes. The edge of the galaxy showed strange distortions, stars dimming, space itself seeming to warp. That, Laura said quietly, is the front edge of the devourer. It's already here. We have months, maybe weeks, before it reaches populated systems. The council chamber fell into a heavy silence as the truth sank in. We need to act now, Alan said. Humanity has the weapons. You have the ships and resources. Together, we might have a chance. The fate of all intelligent life now hung in the balance of their decision. The observation deck of the newly commissioned vessel Defiance offered a breathtaking view of the combined fleet. Fleet Admiral Catherine Reynolds stood with her hands clasped behind her back, her eyes taking in the magnificent sight. Ships of every size and design moved into formation, vessels from species that had been bitter enemies just months ago, now flying side by side. The sleek silver cruisers of the Pezari Republic glided next to the massive battle platforms of the Vexari Dominion. Small, agile Thanari fighters darted between larger vessels like schools of fish. "It's quite a sight, isn't it?" asked Commander Ryan Blackwood, coming to stand beside her. Catherine nodded. "I never thought I'd see something like this." She had been awakened from the Canadian Preservation Facility just 8 weeks ago. Like many humans, she was still adjusting to a galaxy that had changed dramatically during her long sleep. Latest count puts the fleet at 7,823 vessels, Ryan reported, the largest gathering of military ships in recorded history. Catherine turned to study the tactical displays floating in the air around them. Red markers showed the advancing edge of the Devourer, consuming stars at the galaxy's outer rim. "The first line of defense stations is now operational," Ryan continued. "Humanity's forgotten technology, merged with current galactic engineering, has produced weapons we believe can affect the Devourer." "And if they don't work?" Catherine asked quietly. Ryan's expression remained calm, but his eyes betrayed his concern. "Then we fall back to the second line, and then the third. The evacuation of outer colonies is proceeding according to schedule." Catherine took a deep breath. 200,000 years of preparation comes down to this moment. The door to the observation deck slid open. Imperator Valxis entered, accompanied by representatives from the other major species. The Vexari leader looked strange in the new combined fleet uniform, a simple gray outfit with a phoenix emblem on the shoulder. "Admiral Reynolds," Valxis greeted her, "the fleet commanders await your orders." Catherine felt the weight of history on her shoulders. For millennia, humans had hidden, waiting for this moment. Now they led the greatest military force ever assembled. "Are the communication channels open to all ships?" she asked. Ryan nodded. "All ships standing by." Catherine stepped forward. Her image would now be displayed on every vessel in the fleet. "This is Fleet Admiral Catherine Reynolds to all ships," she began, her voice steady. "Today we face an enemy unlike any our civilizations have encountered before. The Devourer threatens not just our worlds, but all life in the galaxy." She paused, looking at the faces of the alien leaders around her, former enemies now standing as allies. For 200,000 years, humanity prepared for this day. We developed weapons, strategies, and technologies specifically designed to combat this threat, but we cannot win alone. She gestured to the fleet visible through the viewport. "Look around you. Every ship, every weapon, every brave crew member represents our greatest strength, our unity. Different species, different histories, different beliefs. Yet today we stand as one." The tactical display showed the first wave of the Devourer approaching the outer defense line. Dark tendrils reached toward the nearest star systems. "Each of you has received your assignments. Trust your training. Trust each other. Remember that we fight not just for our own species, but for all life in the galaxy." Catherine straightened her uniform, touching the phoenix emblem on her shoulder. The ancient human symbol of the phoenix represented rebirth from destruction. Today, it represents our united stand against extinction. She looked once more at the assembled fleet, a sight no one could have imagined possible just months ago. "All fleets report ready," Ryan announced. Catherine took a deep breath. "Signal all commands. Operation Phoenix is now in effect." The massive combined fleet surged forward, accelerating toward the darkness at the galaxy's edge. The ships moved as one, carrying the hopes of all intelligent life into humanity's long-anticipated battle. As the Defiance joined the formation, Catherine whispered words from an ancient human prayer. "Not for ourselves alone, but for all those who come after us." The final battle for the galaxy had begun.